The world turns, and with each turn, a change. And each change makes it more complex, unpredictable, enigmatic. The world keeps turning. And from the Pellicer and Heredia practice, we anticipate everything that is going to happen. Brexit, artificial intelligence, new commercial borders, legal tech. The world keeps turning, and it commands the reliance on international lawyers who are capable of interpreting this new reality with integrity, honesty, and transparency, offering answers to so many new questions. Whatever it is, ask us. At Pellicer and Heredia, we know how.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today on this beautiful day in September 2023. It's nice to see you back here on our webinars after the hot summer we had, and back on track, ready to go for it, and talking today about Golden Visa. We've got today on my left-hand side, I have Pedro Heredia, an expert on international law. Hello, Pedro, can you hear me?
Hello, Ignacio, nice to meet you. Nice to meeting you, all of you. And thank you for inviting me today.
Thank you, Pedro. On the other side, actually down the south, in Almeria, Michael couldn't make it today, so he's not going to be able to make it. We've got Carmen from our law firm as well, the one who's helping us on a daily basis with the Golden Visa, ready to answer to all your questions as much as we could have within this 1 hour of our time. And then on the right-hand side, we have an expert real estate agent whose Inmolufran is Paco and Amal, correct? Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Thank you for this day, for invite us to this webinar.
Actually, we thought it would bring value to you guys to have a local estate agent who's specialized on investments, buying and selling for you guys, and even renting property. So I know we have a lot of clients who are investing property for the Golden Visa, getting an income from the Golden Visa, renting it out as well. So it might be very, very positive to have a look through with them. Now, the way we're going to focus on today is Pedro will tell us all the ins and outs about Golden Visa. Then we'll tell you a little bit about buying a property in Spain is safe and conveyancing. And then Inmolufran could tell you about why they are a good real estate agent, as there are many. What kind of products they could offer, what's the expertise, and then you can start please sending us your questions all over our channel. Okay, all this is going to be recorded just in case you cannot make it during our presentation. Okay, so I'm going to pass over to Pedro, who will be able to explain everything for you. Over to you, Pedro.
Okay, Ignacio, thank you very much. Well, first of all, I have to apologize because today my voice is not the best one. I've been like probably 2 mornings speaking a lot and court hearings with clients, and at this time right now my voice is getting down. So if in some way is not understood what I said, I highly well request you to tell me that. Okay, well, let me speak about the Golden Visa. But before that, I would like to explain or inform many of our clients at this time are thinking about coming to Spain. And there are really like 3 types of visa they are asking for, really. They got Golden Visa, about a non-lucrative visa, and a nomad visa, as well as a working visa or entrepreneur visa, which is another visa. I would say, Ignacio, that these 4 types of visa are the ones who are really willing to be applied by the non-European Union citizens. Okay, as always, I say that there are two kind of queues in the immigration office. One is for European Union citizens, and the other one for non-European Union citizens. One of the visas that is attractive right now, and we will say why it's attractive, is the Golden Visa. Okay, so having said that, Golden Visa is a visa that allows you, grants you to be resident in Spain and travel into Europe. Well, this is obviously in general terms, allows you to be resident in Spain. This means that you have to be resident. No, allows you to be resident in Spain if you want to be resident in Spain. You will be able to live just 1 day, 10 days, 15 days, or 365 days. It's up to you to live in Spain 1 day or 365 days. That is one of the issues that gives you like flexibility and breaks down the rule of 180 days or 90 days over 180 days that obviously many of you have this kind of limitation, to stay in Spain 90 days and then you have to leave, stay another 90 days outside or leave just 90 days on those 180 days. With the Golden Visa, obviously you will be able to stay in Spain, let's say at the end of a year, like 3 months and then 4 months, 5 months, and then stay anywhere else in the world. I mean, this obviously is linked or affected to your residency. If you become resident and if you become tax resident, I don't know if we'll have time enough to speak about tax residency later, but obviously it's linked to that. I mean, obviously many of our clients says, okay, I'm going to invest in a property, I'm going to invest in a property or properties which valued more or equal 500,000 euros. But I do not want to become resident because I don't want to declare my taxes in Spain. I want to worldwide income. Well, at least if you stay less than 183 days in Spain in a natural year from the 1st of January to the 31st of December, then you will not become tax resident. And obviously you will be able to, it will work, that formula that you invest in a property, that you have a home, you with your family, and you back and forwards into Spain. If you are not more than 183 days in Spain in a natural year, you will not become tax resident. Okay, so what I said, the Golden Visa allows you and your family to stay in Spain, be resident in Spain, or if you don't want to be resident, just to come back and forwards and to travel into Europe. There are, I think there are around 26 countries, which is many of them are European Union countries, and some of them, like Norway or Switzerland, are not, but are included in the Schengen area. Okay, which are the requirements to obtain the Golden Visa, which is something that before you invest and once you decide that you want to invest to get the Golden Visa is something that you need to now that you will fulfill the requirements. First of all, not to be resident in Spain. If you already are resident in Spain, well, unless you want to change the visa that you have into a Spanish Golden Visa, well, that will work, but it's something that one of the requirements is not to be resident in Spain. Obviously, not to be EU citizen. If you have a EU passport, obviously you will be able to apply the residency in Spain through the queue that I said before, EU citizens, which is more flexible, is soft. The requirements are a lot better in order to fulfill. You need to be older than 18 years old, and criminal record is one of the things that has been changed. And you don't have to have any criminal records in the last 5 years in the country that you've been living in the last 5 years. So you've been living in a country in the last 5 years. In that country, you don't have to have any criminal records. And if you haven't, you have to apply into this country to eliminate them, because there are some proceedings, as it is in Spain, to eliminate them once a period of time has passed. Okay, this has changed, that it was 5 years and now it's 2 years, but you have to declare, make a declaration that obviously all the law firms we provide in order to make a declaration in order to declare that in the last 5 years that you've been resident, there is no criminal records. And then it's enough money to live in Spain. You have the right, once you invest in a property, once you apply for the Golden Visa, you have a right to live in Spain, you have the right to work in Spain. But you have to prove, you have to show that you have enough money to live in Spain in case that you do not want to work. In case that you say, well, I don't want to to work. I have money, enough money to live in Spain. So the immigration office, the Spanish government wants a guarantee in some way. It is not a proper guarantee. It's a guarantee that you have enough money to live in the period of time that you are going to receive an authorization to be resident in Spain, which is the minimum amount to prove. Sorry. Well, for the principal application, it's 27,000 euros, and then any family member will be 7,000 euros. For example, a couple that want to invest in a property will be 27,000 euros plus 7,000 euros to 34,000 euros minimum requirement to prove that you have enough money to live in Spain. This is not a tax. This is nothing to pay. It is just to prove that you have enough money to live in Spain. Thus, the money needs to be in Spain. The answer is no. The money could be anywhere in the world. At least you have to prove that you have access to that money. Okay, that's as simple as that. In any way of proving that. Okay, as I said, you can apply for yourself, any family member, or even partner, with some requirements about being partnership. Children less than 18 years old, or they have some economic dependent. And as well could be parents, but in this situation, there's health dependent when applying, when you have to apply for. It's extremely difficult, I have to say, for parents. You need to prove that there is no other way to live without you, but obviously it could happen. Okay, and I would say probably 95% of the applications of Golden Visa that we have done, and the statistics also say the same, is buying properties in Spain, 500,000 euros investment minimum. But there are some other investments, like 1 million euros in Spanish shares of a company, Spanish existing company, 1 million euros in a Spanish investment fund. This could be also an option. A bank deposit, we have done some of them, a bank deposit, and 2 million euros minimum Spanish debt, the government debt. Okay, as well, there are some other entrepreneur projects that could be also done in this application. Well, as I said, you can work and live in Spain. Are you able to? Do you have to buy one property of minimum 500,000 euros? Well, you could, but it's not. The answer is no. You could buy 5 properties, as an example, of 100,000 euros each one of them. Or you could buy a property of 1 million euros and apply for a mortgage of 500,000 euros. At least you need to show that you are investing in Spain in properties 500,000 euros. Okay, what if I bought a property in 2015 and now I'm buying another property, and both together, adding all of them is more than 500,000 euros? Well, that's also possible. From October 2013, any property that you have invested could be able to be added to the investment or the Golden Visa. Okay. And just to summarize rapidly, obviously, what if you invest in a property and then for some reason you want to sell it? You want to say, oh, I don't want this property, I want to buy another one, and I want to sell it. I am going to lose the Golden Visa. The answer is, the first answer is no, but you need to maintain the investment if you want to renew. Maintain investment, it means that, okay, you sell, but you need to buy, or you sell, you want to invest in a 1 million euros deposit in a bank, but you need to maintain, you need to show that you have at least, well, you have sold, but you have reinvested in a property or in a bank deposit whenever you renew. And it doesn't happen, it doesn't work that you sell it rapidly at the beginning and then before you're going to renew, invest it again. It needs to be done. It's a subjective criteria, I have to say, but it needs to be done in a term that you reinvest rapidly the investment. Okay. The application could be made in your country or could be made also in Spain. So imagine that you come for traveling for tourism because you want to see properties in this case, and you choose one of them, you give a power of attorney to a lawyer, you at the end, you invest in a property in Spain, and whenever the completion is done, you come up a month after the completion, you will be able to apply physically from here. The answer is yes. Okay, if you apply for the Golden Visa in your country, the period of time will be for 1 year. If you apply in Spain, will be for 2 years. If you apply in your country, will be 1 year, and then after 1 year, you need to renew for 2 years, and after 2 years, you need to renew for 5 years. So if we normally work with that when the client comes physically in Spain, and the property has already been bought, and the property has already been inscribed in the property registry, then we apply electronically. It's very rapid in immigration office, and we get the resolution, well, at least in 10 days, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. Okay, will you be able to apply for commercial property? Will you be able to apply for garage or a storage room, or, well, any property at the end works? What if you buy a property which is not going to be your house? What if you buy different properties, like 3, 4, 5 apartments? Altogether is more than 500,000 euros, and you just live in one of them, and the rest of them you rent it, and you get some profit as a non-resident. Well, that's correct. That's perfect. At least it's very flexible on this. You could buy a land of 500,000 euros and get the golden visa as well. That's okay. At least you need to stay in Spain 1 day. You need to come enter in Spain 1 day per year. Okay, Ignacio, I think more or less this is the briefly. Obviously, there are some other situations that we could enter on the health system, on the marriage. Obviously, we will be answering after you mentioned about the purchase property, about with a real estate agent that we have invited today. And after that, we will speak about medical insurance. We will speak about whenever a couple, a marriage, want to invest in a property, because at the end looks like that each one of them has invested half of that, 250,000 euros. How do we work? How it should be in order to invest 500,000 euros as a marriage, or in some ways should be done by one of the couples? Okay, we will speak about it later on.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Pedro. I think you prefer just for me to just briefly explain a bit about conveyancing rather than going through questions and answer, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, for those of you who bought a property in Spain, you might have noticed different experience here. Buying a property in Spain is safe, but you need to do things by the book. What I do recommend you guys to do is always appoint an independent lawyer to look after your interest. As I said, believe nothing, just act accordingly and independently. Number one, due diligence on buying a property in Spain. Good question. Could I buy a property with a power of attorney? The answer is yes. You'll need to appoint an independent lawyer, and he will be able to do it. You'll be able to come over to Spain, do an inspection trip, appoint a lawyer, grant power of attorney, and then he will do all the ins and outs for you. Could you appoint a lawyer to represent you on the golden visa? The answer is yes. You could do it exactly it, but you will need to come at least one time in Spain to submit all the original documents. Okay. Now, buying a property in Spain is safe, but we highly recommend you to do all the due diligence and do things by the book. For example, appointing a lawyer to independently represent you. Don't get confused when you just being appointed. They will say just use a estate agent's lawyer. Not necessarily is a good option. Why? Because the estate agent's lawyer is working for the estate agent, not just for your peace of mind. When you appoint one lawyer who works independently, that pretty much guarantees that he's acting for you guys on every single point. Now, using a lawyer from somebody else or different estate agents or different place, is it good or bad? Well, it doesn't necessarily to be bad, but bear in mind, if you're going through the process of golden visa, you need to have the lawyer who controls the whole file. Sometimes we end up having clients who have a lawyer appointed for the conveyancing and a lawyer for the golden visa. And as Pedro stated here, certain things are not done correctly. For example, if you bought a property in joint names and it's 500,000 euros, that will not work for you. That's not good for you. So we have an issue, right? Obviously, if you buy with somebody who understands the immigration, then he will advise you how to do it. And it's very important, and I really believe in what I'm saying, is that the person who deals with conveyancing knows about immigration, because sometimes there is little bits and pieces that could help you, even at the notary office when you're going to complete. Now, how does it work buying a property in Spain? You will find out the house of your dreams, of something that you think it could be a good investment. For example, I want to buy 3-5 properties, 100,000 euros, that I'm going to have a return, where they have a 10%, 7%, etc., etc. That will be one option. You don't need to live in that property, as Pedro stated. You could live less than 6 months. You will obviously be non-tax resident. So this golden visa allows you to be non-taxpayer, but you need to stay less than 6 months in Spain. Okay, so let's assume you buy 5 properties, 100,000 euros each, for as an example, and then you give the keys to estate agents to do long-term or short-term or touristic apartment rentals. These will work. These, once you buy these properties, just bear in mind, is plus transfer tax. So it's 500,000 euros plus transfer tax. Now, the normal practice, you will put a deposit down, let's say 3,000 euros, when you really want to put it off the market. And then you will do what we call a private purchase and sell contract, which is basically, the typical case is 10%, okay? 10% of the whole price. Then the rest will go on completion. And some of you will be thinking about, what about if I get a mortgage? Well, that's a good question, but bear in mind that you need to have 500,000 euros from your own pocket. If you want to buy a million euros property, that's no problem, but you need to have minimum 500,000 plus expenses on top of it. Right, then you bought the 3,000, you bought the 10%, the solicitor and the lawyer did go through all the due diligence and found that everything's according to law. There is no issues, because you need to make a difference whether you're buying in a city or inland. There are different kind of issues the lawyer will have to check. For example, whether it's close to public roads, whether you have to close to the sea, whether you have any rights away, whether the property is being fully declared on the deeds. For example, the pool, the house. Some people in Spain used to buy an old house and then refurbish, and then on the refurbishment is not on the deed. And that's one of the questions that you just brought in as well. What about if I bought 200,000 euros and I did refurbish? Well, then you need to do this extension on the property deed, and then you need to have the invoices. And some problems, you'll end up finding problems because you paid in cash, or you don't have the receipt. That's going to be an issue for you guys. But the number one issue for you guys is going to be, you don't have the title deed in one name if you're married, right? So if you're a couple, right, 500,000 euros, we recommend you to have in one name, because that's the only way to have golden visa for one person and the family members as a dependent, right? Children below 18 years old or dependents, and husband or wife. Okay, now let's say we did all the due diligence, we check everything, this property is worth pursuing, and then you just complete. What we're going to need on buying this property, if everything goes through, is to be registered at the land registry, and only at that time will be the time when we can make the submission. For the submission, we need you to be here, present, and lodge it through. We'll run through everything for you, and then we'll take you to the police station, or alternatively, you could do it from the Spanish consulate from abroad. So you don't necessarily need to be in Spain, you could do it from abroad. Once you go through all this process, you bought a property and you lodge it through, normally it's going to take you an average of 3 weeks from having the property registered in your name, okay? Now, if you're buying off-plan properties, be aware, I highly recommend you to always, as you pay down the money, ask for the bank guarantees. I know probably you'll be using a lawyer, and if you do, make sure he requests that and you get that, okay? Now, for those who are buying resale, there is not, obviously, since it's not a developer, the property is already built, you don't need that insurance, okay? Now, obviously, on due diligence, we'll check whether the water, the electric, the community of owners, the rates, etc., any charges against the property, and all the legalities that clicks tax office, the catastrophe office, and the land registry. Especially inland, it is an issue because there is always things that are not accurate. I'm not saying you cannot buy, but probably I will recommend you to retain some money to put it right, which it will take time and some money. Right, and now I'm going to just pass over to, before we just start running through all the questions, because we're having a lot of questions, I'm going to pass it on to Amal, and I will ask him what kind of investments you guys could do, or if necessary, what kind of properties probably you could end up with having for the golden visa. Why talking to them? Obviously, you're free to talk to anyone. We just brought you these people because we know they're nice people, good people, but they're an example, as many of you will choose somebody else. Okay, so I'll pass over to Fran and Amal, and then we'll just run through questions and answers, which is what you are just sending us all over this afternoon. Over to you, Amal.
Yes. Hi. Yes, tell me. And the first, I want to present my boss, Francisco, who has more than 20 years in this business, me only 4. But I can tell you what kind of flats we are right now, and also what kind of rentabilities we take for our clients. Okay, here in Inmolufran, and we work with Spanish people, obviously, but also we have investment funds, when you can buy a lot of properties directly of another price. Okay, it's not the market price, or normally it's less than the normal price, so we have a lot of opportunities, very nice, like investments. Okay, also I'm here to, for example, I can tell you an example with one of our clients in the past, that they take the golden visa with Pellicer Heredia also. In that case, they make like a combination with his budget to buy one villa, one full house for his to live, and the another half they use it for invest in 3 different kind of flats for rented. Okay, this investment right now, they have a rentability around the 9–10%, and that's also in long-term rent. In this case, you are talking about a lot of kind of rents, touristic rents, or by rooms, or another kind of rents that normally the rentability is more. But that we normally try to listen to our clients, what kind of life they are looking for here in Spain, in Alicante in concrete. And after that, we make propositions, or we send to him the best options for him and for his stays here in Alicante. Okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Amal, you just spoke, probably, I think I understood. You're talking about investment from, yeah. You guys know certain amount of assets as an investment for a better price. Is that what you said? Because it's not on the market, it's still from some funds. Is that correct?
Yes, I was trying to tell you it's like a banking investment funds.
All right.
I don't know the correct name in English. And normally,
so repossession properties, yeah, repossession properties. That you guys deal with the bank, and then you get a good deal with the bank, and then you probably get a better investment for clients. Is that basically what you're saying, correct?
Exactly, the combination of the both, this kind of flats and also the normal flats in Alicante. We work with particular people. Normally, we can find a lot of type of kind of flats to our clients in this case. Also, normally, for example, his preparations is near to some area in concrete, or they want some kind of flat in concrete, the last stage or something like that. Also, we try to make that work the most appreciated for our client, you know.
Right. Okay, good. Right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pass over to Juanfran now and see the experience of one of our clients, which I think are great people. They were very grateful, is Martin and Mary. They came from the States, they live here, and it's always nice to see him. Juanfran, if you could please pass over to you, I'll pass over to you the video, and then we'll start with the questions and answers that we have, a lot of them. Over to you, Juanfran.
We looked at probably 20, 30, 40 properties online, and the first time they saw this property, they said, "We found the place for you." And we called Ignacio, and we said, "Ignacio, we would like to make an offer on this property. We found our dream property in Alicante." In the States, we have a term, it's called a one-stop shop, where we could go and get everything done by a single team of people.
Love the climate, the weather, love being close to so much, the castle, and shops and restaurants, and the people are very helpful.
I love the culture. So as we look out our dining room window every morning, every evening, we see a castle that was built in the year 800. The United States wasn't even a figment of anyone's imagination in the year 800. So the culture, the history, and the people are as nice and as giving and as patient as any people we've ever met anywhere we've ever been.
We've found a wonderful guy that helps us with meats and cheeses and eggs. We get everything, produce. It's just, everything's fresh.
It's the best Parmesan. Excellent.
Most appealing about the Mercado for me is, as our daughter says, "See that tuna, like a big tuna fish laying there?" And I'll say, "Yeah," and she'll say, 8 hours ago that was out there swimming.
And then the oranges from Valencia are wonderful.
Yeah. It's frightening how much more affordable it is to live in Spain as it is in the United States. 473 euro for 1 year for our property taxes. Our last property tax bill in the US for a very nice but modest home was $12,000 US.
So that's a big difference.
Yeah.
And when you retire, you have to make your money last. So for us, we can travel and have a wonderful life.
Compared to what we spent in the States for health care coverage, it is a pittance in terms of the cost, and the coverages are even better. I think the best way to describe our day is, more often than not, late afternoon, we'll be sitting out on the terrace, maybe with a glass of wine and just talking. And we'll look at each other and we'll say, where did the day go? So to Mary's point, every day feels different, but every day feels very comfortable. Every day is kind of a new little adventure, and the time just seems to go very quickly, but also most enjoyably. We've been together for 40 years, and this is the best thing that we've done for ourselves in 40 years together.
The paperwork was tedious for our retirement visa. That was tedious.
If you're serious about doing it, go engage someone like Ignacio. Like going into it, you know what you have to do, and then you have the peace of mind of knowing that this is what you have to do.
And doing it the right way.
Do it the right way. They help you every step of the way, and then you can get here and all that's done, and you enjoy your life.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you very much. We really enjoy seeing Martin and Mary, Pedro. Yeah, because they're a lovely couple, and they were willing to express this to people because they're so happy. It's always nice to see them around. But anyway, this was an example of people who end up buying a property in Spain. You don't need to do the 500,000 euros. You could go on the non-lucrative visa, as some of you were asking. Could I do it with a less budget? The answer is completely yes. Okay, but the only difference, you'll have to spend more than 6 months in Spain. You will become tax resident in Spain. And obviously, that gives you freedom of movement, but you need to commit yourself to stay more than 6 months. Otherwise, you will lose that opportunity to stay with a visa, because it's 1 year, 2 years, 2 years, and 5. And then after 10 years being legally resident in Spain, you could apply only if you wish for a Spanish nationality. Pedro, would you like to start answering the questions to so many questions that we are receiving? We have John as well here. Hello, John. It's nice seeing you on the forum here. Pedro, would you like to start going for the important ones, trying to cover here most of the issues? And please send us questions, and we could talk later on.
With John, as you said,
Yeah.
it says, I'm going to read it. It says, if you invest, say in stocks or in shares, and their value falls, do you have to top up this investment at the end of the first period? The answer is no. I mean, once you invest, not just in a fund, or even though a property could happen also with a property, with a real estate. Once you have invested, it falls down or it goes up. That will not really count. Imagine that you invest in a deposit of 475,000 euros or property, and some years after, the value on market is over 500,000 euros. That doesn't count. That will not happen. At the end, you need to invest. You need to show that you have invested, even though the value falls down or goes up. Real estate or property or whatever it is. I mean, investment needs to be done minimum from your pocket 500,000 euros. If the value falls down, it does not affect on the golden visa. Obviously, it affects into your investment, but not on the golden visa terms, and not even in the renewal.
So Pedro, basically, what you're saying is that it is irrelevant whether the purchase price goes down in the market, whether the investment goes down and the stocks go down. Correct?
Yeah, that's a question that has been asked by many people that, for example, bought a property in 2014, 15, 16, and they want to add some other properties. And they say, my property I invested was 150, but now it is worth 400. Does it count? The answer is no. It doesn't count the increase of the value. What it counts is the investment that you did. Okay. As well as if it falls a property of 500,000 euros for some reason, which is more difficult, the property falls down the price in some way, well, that doesn't count. What it does count is the investment. It doesn't count the taxes. It doesn't count the costs that you may have. It doesn't count the renewal that you made, renovation that you made in the property, except, and this was one of the updates, really some time ago, it was you can buy a land, and if you buy a land and you build a new property, that counts. The investment on the land and the investment on the new property. But it doesn't count the works that you do in the property as a second hand, a property that is not new, or I mean that renovation, that building works that you do doesn't count. Sorry.
Right. Okay. Well, John, I think we'll run through it because you said the health insurance with the golden visa as well. The first year is compulsory to have health insurance, okay, with the golden visa and with the non-lucrative visa. After 1 year, we could put you into the public system, and then you pay a flat fee. If you're below 65, you pay 65 euros. If it's over 65, it's 165, if I recall, okay, per person, okay? So what I normally recommend people is to do the first year, and second year, if you want to have two, you have public and private, or you just drop the private and join the public, okay? That's something important here as well, but it's only 1 year insurance. And Pedro, would you like to take on?
Okay. I think Ian, thank you, Ian, for. I think I have answered this question. What if you bought a property of under 500,000 euros after renovation? It was worth more. Good account towards the golden visa, either alone or with a property. With other property will count, but not with renovation. The renovation will not count.
Mm.
I mean, if
unless it's on deed, Pedro, yeah? Unless it's on deed.
It's focused on whatever value you did on the deed on purchase price when you invest on buying a property. I mean, if you can add two properties, that's perfect. You can add a garage with a land, with a commercial, with an apartment, with a flat, with a villa. I mean, a property, we can add it perfectly. The renovations on that cannot, except if you buy a land and you make a new building. Okay.
I think,
Okay.
Pedro, do you have one here? I think Gabriel is asking, if you're Italian, this doesn't apply to you. Okay, if you're European, this visa doesn't apply to you.
Yes,
okay, Gabriel?
European Union citizen, you apply for residency. The requirements
European.
are a lot more flexible. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's obviously less money, financial means in the bank. Obviously, you still need the health insurance. 9,000 euros within 3 months in Spain. You don't need to apply for criminal records because they provide it here.
You come to Spain, you open a bank account, you transfer some money, minimum would stay around 12,000 euros. And also you don't have to leave after 3 months. You just stay here. You just apply for residency and stay here.
Right, and Pedro, just very briefly, the non-lucrative visa program that Abdullah is asking, the difference here is you don't need to do an investment. You just need to have financial means. Per couple is 34,000 euros per year. And exactly the same requirements, but you don't need to do the investment. But the only commitment, you need to be tax resident in Spain because you need to stay more than 6 months. Isn't it correct?
At the end, you need to be resident in Spain. I mean, there is, for the period of time of for the first year, I mean, you need to be at least half of a year. And for the following period of time, which is 2 years plus 2 years, you have to be at least a half of a year. At the end, you will fulfill the commitments to be tax resident. On the 5 years terms, which is a temporary, we have some a year ago, a Supreme Court resolution that made the situation a little bit different, but you will still be tax resident on these cases. So the answer is, obviously, you have to invest. You have to show that you have enough money to live in Spain. Commitments are exactly more or less the same enough money to live in Spain, criminal records, health insurance, and at least show that you have some connections. I mean, a place to stay, a property to renting, or a property that you have bought. And yes, that's perfect. I mean, non-lucrative visa is really focused on people who retire in Spain, who at the end, it's a retirement really visa.
I should say here, it's worth you, I just post a website for you to look through the tax situation, okay? Some of you might be interested to read about the Beckham law, the normal visa as well. And obviously for Europeans as well, they could still apply for this special regime, which is 24%
if you're employed.
Once you're employed, correct? So even though for those who are European, you don't need to apply for normal visa, but about the tax regime, as Pedro said, if you're employed and you're a nomad, you could apply for that. But even for those who are applying for a non-lucrative visa, well, the non-lucrative visa is understood that you're not going to work. But if you're really going to work, because we've got a lot of doctrine already saying that you could work remotely. So you could end up working remotely, but you're not allowed with a non-lucrative visa to work from in Spain, right? For a Spanish company. And as I said before, it is important to identify all the possibilities you have, and then you apply for the right visa. For example, for those of you who are married to a European, this situation will not necessarily be applicable. Because if you're German, if you're Italian, if that's then through the marriage, regrouping family, that's another. So each of you might have a different situation. The golden visa is focused only for non-European citizens. Okay. Pedro, would you like to carry on through?
Yeah, as well as, I mean, the non-lucrative visa and the nomad visa, really, so I'll focus on, as well as the golden visa for non-European Union citizens. European Union citizens has a different queue, as we said at the beginning. There is a question made by Randall. Thank you, Randall. It says about once you get a golden visa buying a property, and what are all the Spanish taxes payable for non-residents and residents? Well, it's a big question. About explain right now the income tax resident in Spain according to double taxation treaty between, in this case, Spain and the US. But let's just start from the ground. And in Spain, there are different regions. I'm sure that it says in the question there are different regions. Some of them has a special tax, rules. One of them is Madrid region in the main center and capital. And then the south, which is Andalusia. And then right now, it's also starting to be as equally as Madrid and Andalusia. Well, some inheritance are even better, I would say, in Valencia region, where we are. I mean, Alicante, Valencia, Castellón, which is Comunidad Valenciana. So at this time, there are two big benefits that we're going to have. Inheritance tax is drastically reduced, absolutely reduced. And wealth tax is going to be eliminated. So from next year, wealth tax will not be. We will not have any more. And thank you for the governments. That is not going to happen anymore. Hopefully for many years. So will not be a wealth tax. As well, there is no wealth tax in Madrid, and as well there is no wealth tax in Andalusia. It is asset tax, which I understand it means a wealth tax. Well, to calculate the income tax, obviously we need to know which is if you are resident, we need to know which is your worldwide income, which is right now, it is not the day-to-day to do it. We invite Randall to send us an email, and we will be happy to help you privately. Non-resident tax is simple, really, if you do not rent it. And it is just to calculate. There are some figures on the council tax where a piece that needs to be multiplied times 1.1 times 2%. And from that figure, what it gets is you need to pay 24%, which is sometimes it's some hundreds of euros. It's not too much. It's a very small tax that you need to pay every year, but it's something that you need to do every year. And well, it's something that's very simple. You just, as non-resident, you do it. You show that you are non-resident, not just not being resident, also not being tax resident. You pay taxes. There are many companies. We do that in our law firm. We manage with this kind of tax, which is simple. We manage. We have the clients, and we give this service. And Ignacio, I don't know if
okay.
you.
Yeah. Do you go to the question about Ian asking about the renovation, Pedro? Is under 500,000, but they did renovate. Would it work for Golden Visa? Well, obviously, as I said before, Ian, I don't know if Pedro went through, but the situation is you need to have it on deeds. You need to have it on deeds.
Yeah,
and you need to have.
We answered before. That's right.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, and question from Juan is: can we do it from the United States? The answer is yes.
Someone from Austin. I think. I mean, our clients. We have a lot of clients from Austin, I would say.
Yeah. John, health insurance. We went through it. Health insurance for Golden Visa. As I said, is you need to have more than 1 year within the padron. You'll be able to have and apply for public health public health in Spain. So either private for the first year in the golden visa, and after 1 year in the padron, then you could apply for the public. Okay.
Yeah, this time he's been asked a question that he's been asked by, I would say, by many of the clients that we have appointments by golden visa. It's about what is going to happen with the golden visa in Spain. Is it going to be cancelled or not? There was there was some like a political party that said and announced that they were going to do it. They were going to request that to the government. At this time, is nothing appears in the news. Nothing appears. We are obviously right in a period of time that the government is going to be incorporated. We do not expect that is going to happen, and we do not expect that it's going to happen in the near future. Maybe, I mean, because Spain didn't have any file open by the European Union as it has Cyprus, it has Portugal, as it has some other countries, but Spain didn't have this kind of file. No one has the crystal ball at this time, really. But once someone has already the right to stay in Spain with a golden visa, obviously that right will remain in the future. At this time, we expect that nothing is going to happen with the golden visa in Spain, but obviously we will be watching, obviously, the information given by the government in the near future, yes, in case that they announce anything.
Okay. More questions I have from Tamara. I think it's quite interesting. Pedro, do you think golden visa is going to disappear recently?
Yeah, no, see, this is what I was wondering, Ignacio. I mean, I don't think we'll be disappearing, really. I mean, we know this. I don't think we'll be disappearing, but not in the near future for sure. Obviously, no one has a crystal ball on this.
Okay. And so Randall is saying, just to confirm, no wealth tax in Madrid or Valencia. Well, the wealth tax in Madrid and Valencia, we've got the solidarity tax, which, as far as I know, Pedro, at the moment is more than 4.2 million, which is a 3,500,000 plus 700,000, which he ends up Randall into 4.2 million. So when you start paying the solidarity tax, but again, this could be amended or abolished or deleted, depending on government.
In the court right now. I mean, this probably is going to be suspended in the future. But
yes,
to confirm, Randall, no wealth tax in Madrid and will not be wealth tax, because at this year we have, and we expect that the government for the next year will eliminate it. It has been announced, so this is going to happen.
Yeah, Pedro, we've got questions from Tamara as well, saying if she could swap it from non-lucrative visa to golden visa. Is it possible?
Yeah. As much as she shows the investment and the requirements, fulfill the requirements, it can be done that way. Yeah.
Right. And then Matt is asking, what about if I've been married to my partner for more than 5 years, but you're not married? Can they get the visa, assuming that all other aspect of the non-lucrative visa? Well, you could, Matt, probably apply for non-lucrative visa individually. And if you want to do it joint, you will need to prove that you guys are legally registered and partners. Otherwise, you both are individuals. I mean, registering is not a problem in Spain. You could do it through the notary office. We could help you with that. Then once it's joint, but we'll have to see what is the specific situation, because it's a bit general.
Yeah, that's a main problem. I mean, problem is a big issue really when you, as a marriage or a partner, invest. As a marriage, probably there's more better solutions really on investment, because even though they are, let's say, assets are individually, is privately, whatever they invest is privately, obviously they have to invest 1 million euros, which shows that each one of them has invested 500,000 euros. But as well, we can change that regime, that rules between the marriage, and say from now, everything that they buy is together. So they could buy 500,000 euros investment. Mm-hmm. Partners is different, because on the partners is not in terms of marriage. On partners is able to apply one of them, principal, family, and then family member, which is included the partner. But investing with a partner and less than 1 million euros, which at the end is less than 500,000 euros each one of them, is at this time, in my opinion, is not possible.
I have a question for Fran and Amal. What kind of return you're getting for a property being rent out? from your experience so far, what kind of percentage, Fran, you are getting in a short-term rental, which is probably what you, I think you say you do more long-term rentals, but what kind of return somebody investing 100,000 euros could get? Do you know the figures?
I will tell you two examples, okay? One, for example, in 180,000 euros, if you buy it for long-term rent, normally minimum we take 8 or 10%, okay? That's the minimum here in Alicante. Also, Alicante has one reason very, very good for me, or for me and for all of the investors here. It's that the prices in Alicante right now are down, are crazy, but still are down. In comparison with another cities, very touristic like Valencia or Malaga, the prices are in the highest top. So I think Alicante is a better option for that way in long term. The value of your house normally goes up. It's a lot of way to make it. In the second kind of investment or flat, it's we see a lot of clients, they ask to us about license, touristic license, okay? Touristic license here in Alicante works very, very well because we have tourists out in, I think, all the year, in the summer or all the year. Alicante has a lot of activities for him. So if you buy someone right now, for example, the last one I said it's around 130,000, 140,000 with license, and they make around 20,000 euros in 1 year in booking Airbnb platforms. Okay. Also, you need to start with us, obviously, the taxes about that kind of rent because are different. But normally it's depends on the client what kind of rent they love or they want to use. Normally, also the people who makes the combination to live in this house and rent it by Airbnb, that way is the best for him because you have the control of the days and you can take some week for you to stay with your family in that flat, and in another month take another week in that flat. So you have more control than the other way. In long term, it's impossible, obviously. So it's depend. We try to listen first to the client and then we make decisions.
Okay.
Also, you tell before something, we see a lot of cases when, and we talk to him the same. Normally, the lawyer, it's expensive when the trouble is the problem is in the title. But we recommend always in all these procedures, take a lawyer with you, because in real estate agencies here in Spain, it's not like America, USA, or some in another countries. It's very different. And in this case, with Francisco, they have 20 years in experience, so you can be safe. But in the market in general, in real estate market, you can find a lot of kind of professionals. So my recommendation always is go in the way with a lawyer and with a good real estate agent.
That's good recommendation. And John is asking whether we follow up on clients and take care of renewal process in the future. The answer is yes, John. I mean, we'll do whatever you do. If you do golden visa or non-lucrative visa, all the renewals, we just we do all the work and from A to Z. Okay, with you guys. So that's not a problem. Whether is a European residency, a non-lucrative visa, golden visa, normal visa, or grouping residency permit, we've got already on a daily basis with the immigration office every day. Actually, today I had a court case with regards to a European Brexit application in Alicante, and we went to represent clients through the courts when the administration gets very stubborn and then obviously we defend all the way through. Okay, I think, and I will just tell you here, for those who are investors, as John said, probably investments is a good option. We could help you with it eventually and arrange an appointment and discuss it, whether it's good or it's bad, or discuss the products. If you're thinking about buying a property in Spain, we could help you as well on the conveyancing side. And even if you really want to find a good deal as well, as Amal said, and Fran, buying repossession property and putting for rent, that could be another option. You make money out of your investment. You've got the golden visa. You could be non-resident tax. So it's worth talking through all the possibilities. What might be good for one person will not be good for the other. It's very personal. I will say it's very personal. It's worth discussing. I think we pretty much covered, Pedro, everything. We need to finish up. I know Amal and Fran just gave us a video that we're going to share now about Costa Blanca for those who don't know the area. Do you have anything else, Pedro, we're missing?
Nothing else. Well, obviously, if anyone has any more questions or would like to, be more, give them more accurate information. Obviously, we are open to have appointments, obviously, to give more information in order to help them to understand the situation of a golden visa or any kind of visa or for investment, or obviously, which is linked always about taxes. Thank you very much for listening to us, and I hope you enjoy the webinar.
Okay, I'm just putting here our personal email is going to be in the chat until we just finish up. I'm going to pass over to Juanfran now. Thank you very much, Amal. Fran, thank you very much for taking the time. Pedro, on this hot Wednesday in September in Alicante. And I hope, if you don't know Costa Blanca, I hope you enjoy the 2-minute flight all over through. See you in 15 days. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Maybe because I was born on the Mediterranean, I feel so connected to this sea, to this land, to this light. Because the Costa Blanca is my passion, it's my life, it's who I am. It defines me as a person and sets me apart from the rest. Yes, it's important not to forget who we are and where we come from. That helps us understand the meaning of our lives. By this sea I was born and grew up, laughed and cried too. The emotions of life. Our land is health and well-being, the joy of living, in our own way, in our own style, authentic. That's why so many artists come to the Costa Blanca looking for inspiration, to capture the essence, that light that defines our character, and not just artists. So many people come here and stay. The sky, the landscape, the rosy sunsets, the warm sand under your feet, the sea breeze on your skin, the mountains, and seeing the sea from the heights. I love to close my eyes, take a deep breath, and feel the sun on my eyelids. As if the light was inside me. I can't explain it. As my grandmother used to say, life is full of inexplicable things. You have to live them, feel them. I had to live in other parts of the world to really value what we have here. I have everything I need. My future is here. I've learned to enjoy the little things, the little pleasures in life. And we know a lot about those. There's nothing more authentic than feeling happy in the place where you were born. And however hard I try, I can't explain it in words. Costa Blanca, authentically ours.